Hey, I'm trying to put together a little training video here. Matt at Mango Vans, and a customer was asking a couple questions, and I was going to put together a video, and then I figured these are a lot of common things that we hear a lot. So today we're going to go over electrical, plumbing, and awnings, kind of just how to work these things in your van. Not natural. No one's born knowing this stuff. So once you do it once or twice, I think you're going to get the hang of it, though. So the awnings we use are from an Italian company called Fiamma, and they have a lot of great information on their website, but we can also answer a lot of questions. So first I'm going to show you how to open it up and set it up. So it's already out, obviously, and first I'm going to show you how the legs work. Um, Two ways. You could usually mount these on most vans. You could also have it at these clips that are through bolted into the body itself. So as this lifts up, the leg comes out, and then you can use these independently just right on the ground too. One of the advantages of having it off here is if like a dog comes barreling through your campsite, I guess. Just easier to walk in, but you'll still find a way to crash into it. Don't worry. And now we'll swing over and show you this other one. Up and out. And now to extend these, now this awning can hold its own weight for a little bit. That's not exactly what it's entirely designed to do, but it can while you're moving around. Make sure I'm showing you stuff helpfully. And they have a little wing nut on here, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Get that where you want it, raise up, tighten it up a little bit. Now you're good to go. And now I'm going to show you how to put these away. How am I going to do that? We're going to, these fold up and then go right into the awning itself. Loosen it, lift this guy up, give it another little tighten. You just have a rod here, just swings right up and gets nested right into place. Just like that. I'll try to go faster now. Okay, up, tighten, catch this guy, swings up. Now also, when you're moving these around, just be mindful you don't give yourself a dinger and scratch up the van. So be conscientious of where you're moving with these, right into place like that. A little pop. Okay, so now we're all inside. Now to tighten it, and to put it away rather, we've got our hook here. So I'm going to show us how this works. Your awning will come with a handle like this, and the hook will fit right into this hole here. And then another righty-tighty, lefty-loosey type of situation. And as you get closer, it really is going to set itself in. You don't have to rush. Take your time rolling it up, and you'll see it, and you'll kind of hear it just, boop, just drops into place there, and good to go. So that's our awning. Now let's talk about one of everyone's favorite subjects in electrical. First, we'll start off with showing you shore power. This is, again, one of those things that is not necessarily intuitive to everybody. So the reason we have this charger out here is for if you're at something like a campground where there's going to be power, or even just at a buddy's house, you can charge your garage, which is what this does, is allows this thing, the shore power inlet, allows 30 amps to go in of 120 volt. That's the household stuff you would have at home in your garage or at a campground. So once it's on, there's an indicator light that's not going to come up on my phone probably, but a little blue light will go on to let you know power is going in. And so the stages of doing this, you arrive at a place and you're ready to plug in. You're parked, engine's off, your inverter's off. So then you're going to take your adapter, come out here, and pay attention to one of your prongs. Kind of has a tooth knocked out, and that's just in making sure that we go directly in so we don't get reverse polarity. It just makes it the safe way so there's not a shock hazard. So first you're plugged into your van. Now let's say this is your entire extension cord that's going to go back. This is not plugged in yet to the power source. So we'll get this plugged in. So our van is still sitting, floating right now. All it is it's a little island with its own batteries. Then we would go, and depending on what the campground service has, there might be a breaker, which you would have off until you're plugged in. Breaker comes on, we see there's no faults. Even if there is, there's still a safety breaker inside the van. So now you're plugged in, you're ready to go. Then you'd go in the van and then turn on the inverter charger. Sounds like a lot, but once you've done it once or twice, it's not that big a deal. So then your inverter charger comes on, and that does two things. It's going to be charging your batteries, so everything you're using, if your batteries are depleted, it's going to bring them back up. And also, inverting means it's taking the power of the batteries to run things that would normally need a plug like this at home, like a microwave. And when cars go by, I lose my attention. Oh, look, a squirrel. What are we talking about? And then the shore, so also it operates as like a pass-through. So say normally if we're not connected to anything, and I'm running the air conditioner inside right now, it would be coming off of the battery bank. But once we're plugged into a situation like this, now all the power first is going to charge our batteries, and also everything else that's running, it's actually taking power directly from the grid. So our inverter is just sort of sending the charge to the batteries and then just allowing the power from the grid to go straight to those loads. So you're not depleting your battery. So it's 2 for 1. And then when you're about to leave, you've enjoyed your stay, you're ready to go. We'll do the same steps in reverse. You go to your switch for the inverter, which I'm going to show you inside. Switch to off, boom. And then the first thing you do is go back to the pedestal where your power is coming from, your source. Disconnect that. Now your whole van is back to just being its own floating island. Now you can disconnect. Now you can take this guy off, close up, and you're ready to go. All right. So now let's look at the actual hardware of what's in one of these vans. We'll look at our electrical system and we'll look at our plumbing system, both of which could be sounding complex, but the goal was for us to make it as simple to use as possible. So for our electrical systems, we use parts from a brand called Victron Energy, and we use lithium batteries. Now, what you're seeing in here is not really something you should need to interact with. As an owner, everything just works. Just know that wherever our electrical box is, that's not really for storage. That's only going to be needed for accessed by a certified electrical technician. Everything we do for our electrical is using the marine industry standards as far as the type of cables that we use, the sizing, the fuses, the ratings, the breakers, the types of connectors we use. This isn't RV stuff. No offense to any the RV industry, they do great work. So the parts that we have here, this is what's coming in from your solar panel. And solar panels always are going to want to bring in power, and they want to go to a controller, and they want to go to a battery. So if there's ever service going on, that's why this breaker is here, so that you can work, or somebody can work on your solar panels without there being any damage. This box is what's taking power from your alternator while you're driving. So anytime your engine's running, you're sending some power to your batteries. This is a distributor, which really just means it's a collection of all the cables to stay organized, and it also has fuses in there. This is a device for monitoring the activity that's going on with your batteries. It's reading, hey, who's coming in from the charger and who's going out, so we're keeping lights on, and it's going to help you calculate what's going on. And then this big guy is the inverter charger. It does two things, so it's called a multi-plus, and we're going to talk more about this inside. Now, the same goals for our electrical goes for our plumbing systems. And again, we do all custom work. We don't just do the same model over and over again. So depending on everyone's needs, there gives me a different configuration of, do you need a shower or not? Where is there a sink? All that. But really, everything that's going to stay consistent. So if you have one of our vans and you're trying to do some troubleshooting, you'd have your water tank. We use all PEX plumbing. We use SureFlow water pumps. We use Bosch water heaters. And we really have thought a lot over the years of how can we reduce as many couplings and any connections as possible. So our fill is actually super simple, and we provide you with kind of an extra additional hose. So you fill this up, charge it, and kind of the concept of the shore power of, get your electricity or your water from a source, but we have some stop checks along the way. So just a simple ball valve is going to help when you're going to fill. Now you can open up, get water in, you can monitor your tank height, and then just close it off simply. And we use the sending unit here, which I'll show you up front. That is going to help keep track of how much water you have in here. Now, in a plumbing closet with water, water's a lot less flammable than electricity. That's science. And so you can store stuff in here if you'd like. We've got some tools and slackline, because I'm a hippie, and stuff like that. So you can store stuff in here. And if you have one of our Dinette beds, I'll show you now how we use just a very simple leaf system to get into a bed. So now our electrical closet locker closes, our plumbing locker closes. After you've filled up, you just thread back the water fill cap. You're good to go. And now we would use these cushions to be a dinette. No, I didn't show you how to do the leaf. Well, that's how you do it if you're just doing cushions. And then to make it a bed, we have put a leaf on one side. So very simply, now with the ProMaster, this is a queen-sized bed. We're always going for simplicity. Okay. Now it's a dinette. And now we can go inside. Oh, it has Velcro on there and I put it on backwards. So let's take a look inside now. Keep these closed because we've got the air running. If you order a heater from us, you'll see the exhaust here. Whether it's a Ram, a Transit, or a Sprinter, they're pretty much going to be the same interface for you as the user. And that exhaust takes out the type of stuff you don't want to be breathing, to be technical. All right. First, another part that we install a lot of lately now are these rear view cameras. Because depending on what kind of system you have, you may not have great visibility out the back window. So these are nice. So these are on all the time while you're driving, and it's recording with an SD card. And so it will run for 60 seconds, record, and then turn itself over again, so that in the event of an incident, you have it recorded. I'm trying to turn that on. Where camera? Turn on, buddy. All right, so we're driving, and you always have this. You'll also have a view out the front too, or you can have both. So you're always going to have both cameras, front and rear, recording. So if someone crashes into you, you have it for your needs. And this is really nice for driving. You're going to get, I feel personally that you have a much better understanding of your surroundings, either on the highway in a town, off-road, than you would just with the rear views. And it's got a GPS, so it's handy for telling you your speed, your direction, and time and date. Which, this factory rear view camera is probably better for like backing up into a tight parking spot in a mall. But overall, general use, these are really handy. All right, so let's look at the plumbing system. We showed you the standard tank setup that we are going to find most commonly. The main goal between our plumbing is, like everything else in our van, you turn it on and it works. That's the dream. So in this particular model, there's a shower as well, which has an undermount gray water tank. Gray water means things that go down the drain. It's not fresh water. When it's in our holding tank, it's fresh water. Once it goes down the drain, it's gray water because it's mostly going to be things like soap, toothpaste. That's about it. Anything human waste would be called black water, which would go into a different holding tank, and we don't deal with those. We just use a portable toilet for that scenario, which you would have then empty. So the gray water tank, usually, like I said, they're outside of the van. This one in particular, since we have dual zone plumbing, this is an interior gray water tank. And here's really the only switches you're ever going to need for your plumbing is, do you ever want to turn the pump off? Well, say you're winterizing or servicing it for some reason, or if you're just going to be not using the van for a while, or if you're going to be doing stuff, moving around, and you don't want to say accidentally, oh, someone accidentally like bumped it and now it's just like dripping water for 4 days because we weren't even in the van. So that could be a helpful thing to just go, boop, okay, the pump's not going to work now until we come back and turn it on. Now for draining, we use down below is a device, like very simple thing like this called a solenoid. Really, that's just a valve. There's this little ball valve in here that opens and closes. And right now, all the water is staying inside of this tank because we have it on hold. Now, if we wanted to put it out to drain, I don't know if I'm going to be able, you'll hear a little like wheep as the valve is opening. Now it's going whoop, and now all the water is coming out. So now, the way this is set, every time gray water goes down the drain of the sink, it will go through the plumbing, through the drain tank, and out. Now, whether you were to have it connected to a hose, or you're above a storm drain, or you're in a place where you know that you're being ecologically friendly and sensitive and law-abiding, there are certain drain aspects. Check your local laws. I don't know. But anyway, so they'll stay like this now because it's held this way. So now this valve is open, and it will continue to stay open. Now, were you to say, okay, now we're going to be parking at a friend's driveway, or we just want to be not dumping the water that comes out, very simply, whoop, okay, now it's going, wheep, and now it's closed. So now all gray water is currently being stored and held until you then make the decision to manually switch it. Okay. And now the electrical. Here is going to be pretty much the standard control panel that you'll see on our builds, regardless of, okay, here's the layout on this van. They have galley with kitchen micro over here. We have dual split bed. We have shower, extra captain seat on swivel. Okay, and then this cabinetry in the back. And then I'll show you, I can show you 4 other vans in the build today, in the shop today, and they're all completely different. So, but these are still going to be the consistent, useful ways of how you're going to interact with your systems. All right, this looks super complicated and weird. That's fine. Hopefully it won't be after a while. This is not going to be in every van, but in this one, it'll give you it's a good visualization to understand what's going on. All right, now we're going to take a deep breath and breathe. So we talked about the inverter earlier. That was that big blue box back there. We called that the Victron Energy Multi Plus. Multi because it charges the batteries and gives us inverter. So we talked about the lithium batteries, and everything that was on the fuse panel for the lithium batteries is DC. So those are things like, these lights, light switches, water pumps. We use isotherm marine grade refrigerators, which are DC powered. Our max fan, this cool fan, more Bluetooth charging. So anything like this, if it uses like USB, USB-C, I think I forgot the proper term. I think they're just cigarette lighter sockets. I forgot what those things are called. That's all going to be DC. Now, everything that's we would use at home in an outlet like this is going to be AC, and that would be things like our microwave and our air conditioner. And all of those loads are on here, our water heater. Now you'll see a light here for the air conditioner because it's on. And the reason it's on because the inverter is on. And when I talked about that one little switch, I'm not going to actually do this right now because we're hooked up to shore power and I don't want to confuse it because we're on a pass-through mode. But anyway, this is how, when you're ready to leave, when I said you would turn off the inverter before disconnecting from shore power, this is where you would do that. Off. Now, what does that number 15 mean? That's the amount of current in amps. And we talked about how the adapter in the shore power inlet can accept 30 amps. And that's, I don't know which is worse, staring at a screen or me. The 30 amps is the highest potential possible. So if you're at a place like a campground where they were set up to offer you 30 amps and there'd be no issue, you say, whoop, I can crank it up to 30, give me the full blast. If you're at a place here like our shop, where we're just plugged in with an extension cord to the wall, and right now we're running table saws and all sorts of tools and everything, if we were to try to ask more of it, we would blow one of our breakers and have to reset it. Because the way that we're set up here with this grid on the wiring here from the utility, it doesn't want to give that much. So that's how we tell it to not take too much. The only time you would want to use charger only, that's more for boat settings if you were to be leaving a boat for extended periods of time connected to shore power, so you would keep your batteries topped off, but not want any of your loads, such as these, to activate and start taking power without anyone being there. So it's really not going to be too much to worry about here. For a camper van setup, for one of our healthcare vans, really, it's either on or off. And once it's on, you're charging if you're connected. And once it's on, you're energizing all of these circuits here. So, okay, my inverter's on, but my microwave's not working. Look at this microwave too. It's reflective and shiny. So, hey, what's going on? My inverter's on. Well, first check would be, look at your panel. Are you giving it power? Do that. Now the lights are on. Now it has power. And now we know what's on. Keeping a microwave on, not doing anything, no big deal. Not really going to take much power. Keeping a water heater on and just leaving it on, usually if you want to set up to take a hot shower, turn on your water heater, give yourself 6-7 minutes, then you're going to have hot water coming and it's going to be enough for a shower. That's the sort of thing you would not want to leave on because that will just take a lot of power from your energy, from your battery storage, which isn't necessary. So I'll leave you now with kind of an overview of what's going on with this system. These are our batteries. This is the stuff that's taking power that's DC, like right now our lights and fans. This is this big guy in the middle. That's that multi-plus, the inverter charger. And the loads are AC loads. Well, that's going to be, what's our AC loads? Okay, this light, which may not be coming up right on the phone, that means the air conditioner is taking power. Oh yeah, because it's blowing refreshing, wonderful, cool air. That's why. Okay, cool. So that's how much power is being used. And what's coming in from shore power? Oh, cool. We're getting this many watts coming in. So it's going into the multi-plus, and then it goes down into the batteries, and that's why we're at 100%. Now you're going to say, what's PV? That's photovoltaic. What's photovoltaic? That's solar. Whoa, my gosh, the solar's zero. What's going on? I get this question a lot. Why is my solar zero? Because your battery is full. That's oftentimes going to be the reason why you're not getting solar. And then we have a couple other little data points here, because throughout the van, we've got these portable Bluetooth sensors. And we stick them everywhere. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Now, there's a couple in strategic locations. That one is measuring the ambient temperature of the van. We have one at the battery bank. We have one inside the refrigerator. So now we know the temperature inside of our battery box. So it's not overheating. That's good. And that's the humidity. So if that humidity were 100, that would mean it was underwater, which is bad. We know what's going on with the fridge. I've not been running this fridge right now. We always test them, but this one's not being used at the moment, so it's only set to a low setting. This isotherm does have a freezer, though, which is cool for some folks. It can be very useful. What stage are we at for our charging? We're at absorption because our batteries are very full, and that's just keeping them topped off. Again, we're currently not taking solar power because the Victron solar charge controller is talking to the batteries and it's understanding, hey, you guys are full. Okay, cool. We're just going to hang back and wait. So you don't need us. So we're not adding any more power to the battery bank right now. Here's the temperature in the van. I just turned on the air conditioner like a minute ago. That'll come down quickly though. And then we showed you that sending unit installed inside the water tank. Really just kind of a little float that you tell it the parameters, and then based on where it's sitting in the tank, it'll tell you how much you have left. So I hope that was useful. Oh, and if you have a Webasto installed, they're very simple. That's also, it takes very little power. So usually those will be located at a low point down here. This is the output for the Webasto heater. It runs off the vehicle's fuel. So in the case of a Ram or a ProMaster, I'm sorry, a Ram ProMaster or a Ford Transit, it'll be gas, or a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter will be diesel. The unit is installed under here, easily accessible and serviceable by just taking out this drawer. So we're always thinking about how can you access this stuff if you need to service it. We're always getting you into stuff just like your water tank. Lifting up a single board, you're already in there. You can see all the connections, not taking stuff apart. It's all good quality stuff. And that's everything, I think. So I hope that's useful. And again, I made this for one particular client, but I'm going to leave it up here. And hopefully some people can get some benefit out of it. Maybe I should tell you about the Max fan now that I'm looking at it. So for the most part, we'll be using this type of air conditioner since we're in South Florida. And we just really need something super powerful that really can handle the brutal heat and humidity, because a lot of our vans are being used by professionals now for like healthcare businesses. Very straightforward controls. You can adjust the fan speed, which they're very quiet though. Oh, that's the temperature. I'm not even looking at what I'm doing. Anyway, that's intuitive. And then the Max fan, these ones we install have a rain shield, which means you can use it in a rain and water will not come in. They do intake and exhaust. So right now we're at air in. We can adjust by the size of the fan if you want a higher percentage. In or out is connected with this little spin around icon. And one thing to note also with these is that this will work much better if you crack a window, either up forward, or this van in particular has windows here. If you were to open these up, you'll definitely notice like the pitch changes because more air is coming in or out. And again, this can be switched to an intake as well. You're going to be aiming for this glass ball here. That's the magic ball. So this guy is now at this, and it's now going to switch to do intake. And when I close it now, watch this manual knob as it comes down. So now it's closed, but just something that I personally like to do is if I'm going to be parked somewhere for a little while, even for a couple days unattended, I will manually crank this a little bit, open it up so we're getting some airflow. Rain's not going to get in, but manufacturer recommends that you do not drive with this open at all. So remember to open and close it manually, or right here with this button is the open close. All right, now I think that's everything. So tell me what I missed or what I messed up or what I could explain better, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.